Budget entry-level disc brakes. To the untrained eye, they look remarkably similar to all singing, all dancing, fancy schmancy, top spec ones, and they're available at a fraction of the price.
But what are the differences? Why are these so much cheaper? And just how do they compare in braking performance? To find all that out and more, keep watching and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Oh my God.
These disc brakes really are entry level and are fitted to the £250 Eurobike, which is the cheapest road bike we could find on Amazon. They're cable actuated and fitted with 160mm rotors, which are a one-piece steel construction. Being actuated by a cable means when you pull the brake lever at the front, this arm at the back here pushes one of the brake pads across onto the brake rotor, and then pushes all of that across onto the second brake pad, which is fixed in place. It's a basic system and it doesn't offer much modulation or that kind of fine control, which is going to be crucial on an epic wild descent such as that we're going to be taking on today. By modulation, we're referring to that gradual feeling of applying the brake, similar to how you operate the brake pedal in a car. And it allows you to have that level of control over the braking rather than the feeling of them just being on or off.
At the complete other end of the spectrum, these are Shimano R9000 Dura Ace hydraulic disc brakes. These represent the very best equipment available to humanity. They're used by professional riders in the Tour de France, the very best in the world. And me. They're actuated by hydraulic lines. You have a tiny reservoir hidden in the lever body, and as I pull the lever, a small piston forces the fluid through the brake hoses towards the caliper. And, as science and physics tells us, you cannot compress a liquid. So the fluid causes the pistons in the caliper to expand and push both of the brake pads onto the rotor with equal force. These Dura Ace brakes are rather expensive though. For, well, either the left or the right, you're looking at £450 for the shifter with the lever on it. Then you've got the line, the caliper and the pads. Plus you're going to need adapters and rotors. All in, you're looking at about £1,000, and that's going to be even more in dollars.
In terms of the difference in the weights between these two braking systems, surprisingly, they're actually fairly comparable. However, the budget brakes are using far less exotic materials. It's a far less complicated system, and there's also the fact that these brake levers have got separate gear shifters.
Yeah, my gear shifting is contained within the brake lever itself. But although the brake systems in isolation are a comparable weight, because budget brake systems are found on budget bikes, Alex's bike is 10 kilos more than my bike, meaning it's not going to win any competitions uphill.
Oh, and for full disclosure, Shimano haven't paid us to make this video. We're just trying to highlight the differences between the most expensive and the cheapest. And to highlight that, we've devised a number of different tests, starting with
an emergency brake test. We're going to ride to 50 kilometers an hour, and then when we reach that speed, we're going to, the flux capacitor is going to, no, we're going to just slam on the anchors and see who can stop in the shortest distance. 3, 2, 1, go.
What's that? 5, 6 bike lengths? So our second test is going to be a prolonged braking test on this epic descent.
Yes, this is all about heat dissipation. We're going to drag the brakes down this epic mountain and see how well they deal with the heat buildup that you'll get from dragging your brakes. Now, ordinarily you wouldn't drag your brakes, but it is something that sometimes beginner cyclists do when they're scared, when they're descending a mountain,
or if the weather conditions are really bad, sometimes you're forced to if it's very slippery.
Now, your bike has got a number of different bits of tech and features built into it to try and combat some of that heat buildup, hasn't it? Such as you've got a sandwich construction on your disc brakes where there's an aluminium core with a steel outer surface, because aluminium conducts heat far quicker than what steel does.
Yes, so your rotors are just steel, whereas these ones have that, as you say, sandwich construction because, well, aluminium has much better thermal conducting properties than steel. Therefore, what the aluminium in the inside is able to do is draw away that heat from the steel outer, because steel has a higher melting point, so you want that on the outer, and then help dissipate that through the clever shaping of these fins, which increase the surface area of the rotor and help radiate that heat away. Also, on the brake pads themselves, this is the back of the brake pads, and you can see that there's fins on those, a bit like a sort of inverse radiator that you would have inside your house. These fins are also designed to increase the surface area of the brake pad and therefore dissipate the heat that's built up.
Whereas over on my bike, it's a far simpler affair. I haven't got any of that sort of technology. I mean, do we really need it? I mean, come on, it's not a bloody Formula One car, is it? Is it going to make that much difference?
I think it will.
How are your brakes feeling so far, mate?
Yeah, all tickety-boo, I think. Pretty normal so far. Yeah, a little bit squeaky.
Mine are fine, silent.
Look, Ollie, right, I think we're going to have to stop in a minute. This front brake is starting to be not as effective. I'm pulling the lever pretty hard.
And it's not even stopping you.
No,
So
I'm
it's
a little
starting to
bit
fail.
concerned on safety because, well, I want to be able to stop. I'm pulling it really hard and
I mean, some of
nothing's
these
happening.
hairpin bends do look like they just go straight off a cliff.
Yeah.
Mine are fine. Absolutely tickety-boo.
We'll try and stop up here and we'll see how we're comparing.
They don't sound too good, mate.
No, whoa. It's look,
Bloody
it's stuck on. Look.
It's like welded it.
That's
No way. Oh, mate, let's get some water on this. I can smell. It smells burning. I can smell it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see how hot it is. You've got a water bottle.
Go on.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. That is hot. In the caliper?
Oh Jesus, that's not good, is it?
Yeah, that's not ideal. All right, try yours then. Oh,
It's fine.
on the caliper? Oh. All right. Maybe you might have fared a bit better than me.
Do you know what, having built up all that heat in the brakes, I'm thinking unexpected plot twist, Brucey bonus third test.
An unexpected third test.
Yeah.
Oh, delightful, thanks.
So I think because we've given those brakes such a hard time and they look like they were really struggling, I think we do another emergency stop test to see if the performance of them has been significantly affected by the drag test.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair point, actually.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Right, back up. Oh, bloody hell. Right. Are you just trying to make me ride uphill as much as possible? As we ride back up to the top of this mountain, let me explain what actually happens when your brakes overheat. So first up, let's get this clear. It's perfectly normal for your brakes to get hot. This is simply what happens when you use them. There's a lot of energy being converted into heat. However, the problem comes when your brakes are generating heat faster than the system can dissipate it. Excess heat will reduce the effectiveness on the pads on the rotor, requiring more force to be applied at the brake lever. As they heat up further, those high temperatures will be transferred from the pads to the caliper and the caliper to the brake fluid. This becomes a big problem if the brake fluid reaches its boiling point, as it will start to form small air bubbles inside those hydraulic lines. These small air bubbles will cause the brake lever to feel spongy because, as science tells us, air can be compressed. This will cause you to lose that feeling of modulation and control. Combine all of this together and you have an ineffective braking system.
An emergency brake test. Well, I think that was pretty clear cut. Your stopping distance was, I'd say, more than doubled.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair point to say. It's super noticeable how the performance is affected by heat.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, what we were trying to prove, really. So there you have it. In our experiment, the budget spec brakes are not exactly suitable for serious cyclists looking to take on epic mountain descents.
Yes, and they're significantly less effective in an emergency stop situation too. But I know what you're probably thinking now, oh great, this means if I want to have decent brakes, I've got to spend thousands of pounds on top of the range stuff. Well, actually, you don't. See, the group set manufacturers' mid-level group sets are actually incredibly good. So things like SRAM Rival, Shimano 105, the performance of the hydraulic brakes on those group sets is comparable, it's very similar to the top end stuff. The big difference is that those group sets tend to just weigh a bit more.
So I guess that's the benefit of trickle-down technology, isn't it?
Yes, those group sets are built to last and they're available at a fraction of the price of this top-end Dura-Ace.
Hope you really enjoyed our experiment and found it interesting. And why not let us know your thoughts on the disc brake system in the comments section down below. And if you did enjoy this video, we'll give it a big thumbs up and share it far and wide with all of your friends. Whew.
If you've got any.
God, it's a long way to the top, isn't it? Why do we have to descend so far? Right, I best get a head start. See ya.